meeting to order. Any additions to the agenda?
I would like to visit, I had a call about, 71, Jim Buckner has a spot where the water's washing the road. He wanted to donate some cement, is what I use to do that.
These are about 170. Okay, anything else?
Taxation on Birchfield.
Taxation.
Well, equalized, I mean,
If
what would you
better
call it?
About, evaluations or assessments,
Assessment on
not taxation.
Okay. We'll throw them in there. Anything else? Okay, let's go through the April regular meeting minutes. Any questions on that?
Motion to approve.
Motion to stand approved, or second for that?
Second.
Second by Ron Miller. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Special meeting minutes on April 15th.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Okay, motion by Boone to approve those. Is there a second?
So moved.
Second by Brian Lau. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. That Wells County resolution, that was, we didn't do anything more on that?
No.
That's done. Yeah. All right, bills. You got them last night, you almost kept me up late, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's see, I read through there was a question I had.
State radio is one of that.
That was.
That's,
While you're looking at them, Brent, you're making me nervous coming in at 8:01. You okay?
yeah, I believe that.
Start to get news, huh?
That's, you'll see it on your balance sheet all the time, it's a negative number. And the state only allows so much tax to be placed on phone bills for that purpose, and the costs are way beyond what you can collect, so.
I just, it seems like we're coming turned around, we can't for radio.
That's actually has nothing to do with the radios themselves. It's to be able to communicate, and it's the network that is employed in the state of North Dakota.
That answer your question, Brian?
Yeah, I just, every time you turn around, you just, you always hear about the radio, and I figured that's what it was.
Radio and technology fees, they gift that keeps on giving.
And it seems like from what I understand sometimes that some of the communication is not all that great within the system there.
You know what, and that's been for years and years, that siren program and all that.
Yeah,
It's
you gotta-
every year, same thing.
You gotta have the newest and best stuff, and it doesn't work as good as those.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I just, is there
And
really
then
a
like-
way you could ask anybody about that? Other than for just a general answer, what's, what they're gonna talk about.
Well, and then like the law enforcement and ambulance and the hospital, there was a time where they couldn't communicate
Right.
amongst themselves.
That's sad.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the concept of it is beautiful.
Yeah.
Functionality is just
Okay.
struggling.
With the ambulance and fire department, we're still sitting on radios that we bought 2 or 3 years ago already, and they're not up running.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
They're just
They should
sitting
be
in a
obsolete
box.
by the time you get around to use them.
And that all costs a lot of money at times. doesn't it?
They're insane what those radios cost. It's stupid.
Any other questions on the bills? If not, I'll need a motion to accept them.
Motion.
Okay, go ahead, I'll second.
Okay, motion Brian Miller, second by Boone. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. something pressing that,
Well, it's not pressing, but I may not be here at 9:15.
well, we do you know.
Well, I don't wanna screw up your.
It'd be pretty hard to screw this screw up.
We're pretty much screwed up all the time, so.
So, the problem at hand right now is the entire festival hall floor is underwater by 2 inches.
Oh, yeah.
In the basement.
The basement.
What happened there, water leak? or-
Well, I'm not sure. So here's the steps that I've taken. So the floor was completely dry. There was dust on the floor last week. Amy was down there. She went down there this morning. There's 2 inches of water, and I mean the entire floor. Okay? The one pump, we hit the EFI button on the box, and the pump started pumping. The one pump. The other 2 pumps, we couldn't get to start. So we got lights, we got power down there. So we got a pump right now pumping, and Jeff is on his way to Harvey to get 2 new pumps. But what concerns me is this. That floor was dry 5-6 days ago. And for groundwater to come into that basement, 2 inches deep to the entire basement in 5 days doesn't happen.
That's not ground.
Especially when we haven't had any rain or anything.
Correct. There hasn't been snow around that building for 3 months. I know the water table's high, but not that high.
So we got a water break somewhere?
So I got a hold of the city and asked if they were losing water. They said not that they really noticed. Right now, I had them shut the water off to the entire fairgrounds. Okay? Now, if they're, what I'm thinking, and I'm asking your opinion because I don't know that much about water breaks, but if there was a tiny leak in a line around somewhere in the festival hall, and it's maybe been leaking for 2, 3, 4 months for all we know, okay? The frost is it's been cold, the frost is not gonna surface, and that water, that it just keeps going into the ground, into the water table, okay? And now all of a sudden, in a span of 6 days, there's 2 inches of water in the hall. The one pump kicked out. I'm guessing that maybe it just was running continuously. It kicked the EFI button out. We've got that going. The water's draining out of the hall. But my concern is that there's a water break out there somewhere that hasn't surfaced, and it's brought the groundwater up to the hall. And until that thing surfaces, how do we even know where to look? Because we've had pinhole leaks on water lines, and I mean, not a pinhole, but a leak that the city's not gonna notice. Maybe it's 2,000-3,000 gallons a day, all right? And it just inundates the groundwater around the hall to the point where one thing that we noticed is our road broke up all the way along the hall this year,
I looked at it.
okay? That's never happened before, okay? So what I'm thinking is the water table around the hall is very high. There's a leak somewhere. Until it surfaces, there's nothing we can do because we don't know where to dig. But for right now, I turned the water off to the fairground just to get the festival hall dry. And then I think the only thing that we can do is run 3 pumps down there, turn the water back on, and see if it comes up, and that leak could be underneath that asphalt road that we put in, and that's why we didn't see it surface. We had a loaded garbage truck come through there 2 weeks ago. I mean, we've had a garbage truck fall in. Dennis and I seen that, and I mean, I understand the water table's high, but
I thought about that day. That shouldn't have been that wet, if that dropped in that deep.
what my fear is we have a tiny leak, a smaller leak, somewhere in a line out at the fairgrounds that has inundated the water table around the hall. When this pump kicked out, it's just amazing that groundwater came up 2 inches in 6 days. I mean, there isn't a dry spot on that festival hall floor.
Can you shut the water off after say,
We can shut it off in 3 areas out there. I had them shut it off to the entire fairground.
right.
And then you can open them and start over.
Well, what we would do is what I would do next is when we get the water out of the hall, to turn the main back on and then shut it off right past the hall.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay? Okay, so then, because there's, nothing is showing up anywhere down the line. I personally think the break is somewhere around the festival hall. And I'll talk to Dave Clough, because they've been working in that little schoolhouse. They have some pumps in there too. And maybe those pumps have been running nonstop. I don't know. I don't go in that building. But anyway, we are messing around at the hall. We got to change out a pump, get all the pumps going. The water is going down, but nobody was more surprised than Katie and then me when she called me this morning saying I could swim in the basement.
Hey, that was just a number of years ago here where we had to replace some pipes, so,
Yeah, we had to we have to replace $150 sump pump once in a while, but
there was some underground pipes though that were.
yeah, they changed a bunch of that. You know, it used to be when we shut the fairgrounds off, everybody down the line towards the underpass lost water.
Right.
Now we got different shut-offs, so they still have water by me shutting the water off to the hall.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jeff's running the Harvey to get pumps. We're gonna change out some pumps. And the water's coming out the hose, it's going out to the track. The track is almost dry. The pump's been pumping the groundwater out of the track, yada, yada, yada. But I guess I was surprised this morning to see that we have a problem at the Fairgrounds. So we're gonna try to get it figured out. Once we can get the water out of the hall, then I'll, whether it takes a day or two or whatever, I'll have them turn the water back on, but I'm gonna have them turn the water off past the hall so we can try to force this thing to surface somewhere.
So Emory School, they did something to the water line going to there last year, didn't they?
They just fixed the shut off to it. They did turn the water on to the Emmerich place about 2 months ago.
Oh.
But that's a shut off right by the building.
Okay.
So right by their building.
Okay.
There's no water that is surfaced there. But I'd like to know if their pumps are running nonstop.
Good question. It should, they actually should be, because if the groundwater is up that high, that should be up.
Is there any water marks on the wall?
No. So you got your 2x4 studs on the floor that are this high. The water was over the top of the 2x4 studs. Okay. It was, well, you can see my pants. This is what I was walking in down there. So right now it's drained and we're pumping it out to the track. But I think, to me, groundwater for 5 days should not flood that hall like it did.
You could pinpoint like within 10, 15 feet of where it is to dig, but
Right.
how are you gonna do that?
Gotta come up.
We gotta find where it surfaces, and the problem is, I never really thought of this, but having that asphalt there, it's probably holding the water underneath the asphalt, so it's gonna surface somewhere.
I would suspect where those ruts will be, might be the area.
Yeah. See, towards the north end of the festival hall, there's a fire hydrant, and in my entire life, that's always been soft there. Okay, but it's soft way up by the north end or south end of the hall. It's never been soft there.
Right.
Okay, so that tells me the water table's up. The garbage truck got stuck away from the festival hall. It shouldn't have dropped in like that.
Oh, God.
I mean, he was into his ass. So the water table is extremely high by the hall. And there's only one reason to say why it is, and there's gotta be a small leak that the city isn't, and you gotta remember too, we haven't had a city employee for a couple months. They're training new people, so, they may not, and they probably don't.
They
When
don't
the
have
city,
track record.
the city uses roughly 30,000 gallons of water a day. So if it's 31 or 32 or 29 or 34, that's not out of the ordinary. So I don't think it's a big leak, but it's obviously a problem.
Do you have a map?
I know where the lines go. I don't have a map, but
As long as you know.
I got a pretty good idea.
So if you go to one of the soft spots at Plumas, and you just open the ground up,
See if water comes up.
see if water's coming, because sometimes it'll follow a line and
Well,
all kinds of things.
that was gonna be my next thing is we're gonna go out and dig a few test holes through
Yep.
the asphalt
Yep.
out there to see if we can get something to surface up through the asphalt.
It seems like it might
When
be
you turn
kinda
it back
tricky
on.
this time of the year, though, because like our yard, the frost has been coming up and.
The frost is
soft
coming,
spots,
there's still frost coming out of the ground,
Yeah, so.
you know,
It's
so.
gonna be hard to tell. like.
Anyway, I mean, I got a few minutes now, cause Jeff's getting pumped when he gets
What-
back,
Let's
so.
go, so you got anything else?
Well-
Your time is here.
Tar carting is done, they did 17 miles
Was that the 11,000 in the bill here?
for mop dolls,
Yeah.
that would be it.
What roads did they do then?
They did the new part of County 5 again, because we're gonna chip seal, we have to chip seal that 7 miles this summer. And then I had them do all of County 4, because depending on the oil price, and that sure doesn't look promising, I would like to do County 4. Now, I haven't got any quotes on the oil price, I usually call mid-May, but that kind of follows gas price and everything else, so I don't expect that the oil's gonna be cheap this summer. So, and just to give you an idea, last year it was $3 $3 a gallon for our road oil, and we use 6,000 gallons a mile. So, if that oil, that's $18,000 of oil every mile we chip seal. If that oil goes up 50 cents, that's another $3,000 a mile. And then you start throwing an extra 10, 11, 12 miles of chip sealing, you're looking at 30, 40,000 just in oil price. And I just don't expect that oil price to be where it was last year, considering the gas price is going through the ceiling right now. So they did those miles. We had our oil warmed up out there. We turned it on at the end of February. Everything was going good. The oil warmed up. When they went out to grab our oil, the bottom burner had burnt out. So our oil cooled back down. So you got burners in the tank, bottom and top. The bottom one does all the work. So when the bottom one went out, we couldn't get oil out of our tank because it went down to like 140 degrees. So that $11,000, I think, and I haven't seen the bill, but the Optals used 1,000 of their own oil to do our chip seal. Or I mean our
So this is the labor for it, or this is the oil?
I haven't seen the bill.
No,
okay.
it's just for labor.
Yeah. So, he just wrote the bill out, I would guess you probably got it last Friday, correct, Dan? Thursday or Friday? So, now, Dan and I were talking about it with Renee. We had an electrician come in 10, 11, 12 years ago and work on redo the heaters on that tank. We have not had a problem with that thing for 12 years. He really knew what he was doing out there. He came from steel. I couldn't think of the guy's name. Of course, Renee remembered it off the top of her head. So I'm gonna have to get a hold of him. Now, obviously, this isn't a rush, because we're not gonna use any of that oil till next spring. We'll let it warm up, try to get a hold of him, have go what's going on with that burner.
Shipley.
Huh?
Shipley?
That sounds right. That sounds like the name that Renee
Yep.
said. Anyway, so that's going on. Dennis and I interviewed, and Dan interviewed a gentleman for the road spot here in Festive. Best case scenario, it would be mid-June before he could start, and I'll let Dennis surprise you on what's going on there, and we'll put that on the record. And the blades are up blading, but we're down several blade guys right now. As you know, one of them is out for another 2 months after back surgery. One of them has been pretty badly ill since last Thursday. Went to the doctor. He's been running a temp for about 6 days now. He shouldn't be running a temp that long. They're doing some tests, so he's sick. And we got another one that is visiting the chiropractor once a week. But otherwise, everybody's been out for, this will be the 3rd week now. And as all of you have known that have driven any gravel roads, they're soft, and until we get some more rain, they ain't gonna firm up. There's soft spots everywhere. We had 3 pretty major breakups on Old 52. We haven't had a breakup in like 4 years prior. We went out and dug those breakups up, and there was just gumbo underneath. So that's why there's gravel in there. It doesn't pay to put a mega mix in there right now until everything firms up. but all the asphalt chunks are gone. We filled up a single axle truck just with asphalt chunks. Jeff is back on a part-time basis, 2 to 3 days a week throughout the summer. He went around and put Omega Mix in a dozen potholes and other parts of the highway, fixing potholes you guys are getting called about. And as of right now, we don't have any new breakouts. And the spring's work is just getting going. Some areas not really, some areas are going good. But if we don't see any May rains, we're gonna be fighting soft spots in these gravel roads for many months. It's just, you guys know it as well as anybody else, nothing brings the frost out and heals up bad spots like rain. And the forecast doesn't look good.
It's not in the forecast.
So if you think the roads are soft now, wait till about 2 weeks. When all this heavy, and they gotta do it, they gotta get the crop. There's nothing we can do about it. We just keep trying that. So, but the more we go over these soft spots with their blades, the more they calm down. Really not, I mean, we're going around, getting all the main roads, and guys are starting secondaries this week. And they'll continue to just go till freeze up next fall. And just so you guys know, if you haven't heard, the fair's in 44 days. So,
As long as you're here, I will bring this to your attention. It's on the agenda. Jim Buckmiller called me, and north of his mailbox, there's a slew. He said whenever the wind blows, it starts to wash on the road. He said years ago, they took some of his cement that he had knocked down and they put it there. And he said if the county wants it, he's got several grain bins that he sold, and he's got cement. If you want it, you can bust it up and put it there for riprap. He didn't know if that was the right thing or not.
well, we
He
have.
just wanted to offer it.
Yeah, we have rock, we have riprap rock out there, and obviously it's gonna probably washing up. Odds are that we gotta haul some clay in there and some rock. And just, I mean, you can tell Jim, I'll thank him, but we can't, the county, technically the townships, we can't use cement as riprap. If there is a major problem in the future and you use cement, you won't get any FEMA money. It's illegal to do. Farmers can do it, this and that, but townships and counties are not supposed to use chunks of cement for riprap. They're supposed to use rock. So if water, we get 100-year flood and the water would go over the highway there and FEMA came out, they wouldn't give the county a dime because we use cement. We gotta use rock. Okay? And as far as anything else, our gentleman that worked at the Fairgrounds has been battling a bad back for about 4 months. In fact, he didn't even drive a plow truck, I don't think, since December. He feels great and is ready to go out there and start mowing. So we just need grass to grow until we get some rain or some. We got 4 seasons every week now. I mean, you guys know it. You guys got any questions for me? I'll keep you apprised as to what's going on at the hall, but I wanted you guys to know that there's probably a bigger issue out there. We just haven't found it yet.
Jeff waiting for you.
Is he out there? Oh, no, that's where Jeff Woods wants to get the pumps.
Have you been on that beach road, that mile?
I haven't been on it since you were on it,
Okay.
but
You
I
just
was,
look at it and see what,
Yeah.
if it works.
so, I was blading a week and a half ago and started to see some farmers haul grain to the elevator, actually watched them load their truck, and wow. Anyway, I didn't follow the truck, but I knew the route he was going, and he tore up like 5-6 miles of township road hauling wheat at this time of year. And that doesn't surprise me that's gonna happen. I just wasn't very happy that they're hauling grain this time of year. I understand fertilizer and seeds the field and stuff like that, but I'm not very happy because these roads can't do it. But yeah, I'll look.
Heard any more on Brian Kinnison starting that?
I talked to him a week and a half ago. He was doing some projects that carried over from last year. He wanted to get done in the Carrington area, then he said he was going over it. And at the last I spoke to him, the slough is going onto the private land. And I haven't had any calls since the little dust up here about 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, we're all witness to,
Yeah,
as you say, we put it on there, so let's just do it.
yeah, so he's gonna do it, I haven't pressed him on it because I know he's busy, but it's on it,
What
it's
happens,
high up on his list.
what happens if he doesn't get to it and they start seeding that field or
Yeah.
something? Then
That, I did talk to him about that.
That's a good question.
Right.
Because he's not gonna want it thrown on there.
Well, then you can't.
Then it's gonna have to go into the right of way. And it can go into the right of way, it's just more work and, but I'm hoping he gets there soon.
It'd be more economical for us if we could put it in that field.
Yeah,
Yes.
be a lot simpler.
Have you guys heard anything from IBI at all since you approved their bid as to, nobody's called me from the, as to when they're going to possibly start on that bridge?
We gotta get a construction engineer first.
What we do before they can look at it. Okay.
Did you speak with, probably last Friday, somebody's setting up at the Johnson pit for the 52 project about roads and using Walls County?
I spoke to, all the equipment that's in the pit now, they've moved in before restrictions came on. And, I did miss a call last Friday afternoon from Mayo Construction.
That would have been it.
Tried returning that call on Monday and didn't get an answer or a call back. But I will continue to call that number. Yeah, I missed a call on Friday afternoon. I didn't see, I turned my work phone off when I'm not working.
I think they're starting this week on it.
It's hard, yeah, it's hard to, I suspect they're gonna use County 5.
Yeah,
And if they were up the $1 million east end of it that just got replaced,
yeah, I know. And they're aware that our restrictions are on, and our restrictions state 65,000 this time of year. And usually when they call me, what they want me to do, and I won't do it, especially with the spring and the soft spots, is they want us, when the restrictions go back to 80, they want us to let them haul 95. And I've told Knife River and everybody else that that's just not going to be the case. I've taken calls from, there's a project going on that they're going to come across Highway 69 this spring, and they want to know if they could haul more on that road, and I said, well, that's a 1055 road. I said, but the next county is 80,000, so I said, yeah, you can haul 105 on ours, but you can't on the county that you're coming out of, so what's really, what's the phone call for? I mean, the restrictions are the restrictions, and we're not letting anybody haul heavy, especially this spring.
They're coming out of Stutzman.
They're coming out of Stutzman, and they wanted to know what the restrictions were in 69, and I said, well, right now it's 7 ton an axle. I said, but when restrictions come off, it's by legal weight 1055 if you have the axle, but it really doesn't do you any good in Stutzman. I've talked to a lot of contractors, but I did miss that call from Mayo. I seen it yesterday morning when I turned my phone back.
So like Dan said, we don't want that east section wrecked.
or the west 7.
Yeah, both ends are good right now, anyway, I don't think I forgot anything, I left my sheet at the shop, but anyway, I'm gonna go back out, we're gonna work at the hall, we're gonna try to get this problem solved. Thank you for getting me in early.
Yeah, well, good luck.
Call my phone, I'll be around town, we'll be working at the hall, if there's something you need, call my phone and I can come back, but,
Quick question, have you reached out at all Forward Township about the clay on this 2 miles?
they actually reached out to me.
Yeah.
They reached out to me about a month or so ago, I think it was English that called me,
Okay.
and Carrie, if you go look at that mile, Carrie's been down in the ditch and has pulled, and they asked us if we would re-pull that mile because they fully intend to put clay and then good gravel on top. So Carrie's actually been in the ditch and done some pulling on that mile west of Highway 3. And then he had pulled some miles for them on the east side of 3, and he touched a little bit of that up on the east side. So apparently they plan on putting clay and gravel down, and they're under the impression that when they put the clay down, that they should call us, because what we'll do then is we'll bring the gravel that's on top into a windrow, and then we'll incorporate the clay into the gravel across, let it pack for a month, and then they can put the gravel on top. But they actually reached out to me shortly after they had their end of March meeting, so a little over a month ago.
They're planning on doing this like pretty soon.
As soon as the road's for a month, yeah, it sounded like it was their, to me, I got the impression it was their top priority.
Well, after 3
I
years.
think, well,
3 or 4 years.
I think they've taken quite a bit of heat
Well, yeah,
from more than just you guys, and I think there's, the other township's quite frustrated that they haven't done anything. And I know I drove by it like 3-4 days ago, or last Thursday, I think I went by it, and I could see that Terry had got down and pulled again. And he's supposed to narrow up the road a little bit again, and, so yeah, that's my answer to that.
We're very lucky we have him, he doesn't really keep it out.
Well, he said he would do it anytime they get their act together, but he did that once before and then
They didn't do
they
anything,
didn't
yeah.
do anything, so.
Well,
I'm
when
gonna
they,
make a motion next month to just quit blading that section until they do it. I mean,
well,
sometimes you just gotta be,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know,
Gotta stop.
it's been 3 years.
When-
They have more money than God, that township.
That's the problem. It's very
It's
frustrating.
just,
well, and the thing is that the people are actually turning and using other
Right, yeah,
township roads.
I go north when I get to that
Yeah,
corner.
yeah, a lot of people are. They turn a mile west and they go across other township roads just because they don't want to drive that mile. And when he had called me, literally, I had called Kerry literally 2 minutes afterwards, and I said, as soon as it's fit, pull those shoulders. And his exact words, you mean they're actually gonna do something now? I said, well, they called me this time. So,
well, let's hope they get it done then, yeah.
and, the township, Kelly Mache reached out to me, about the price of oil and wanted a cost estimate on that 2.5 miles. When we did that those miles by the golf course, they signed an agreement that every 5 or 6 years, Dennis, you know what I'm talking about, they would chip seal it. And the township has reached out what their cost, what approximate, what they have to look forward to. And I gave them estimates and told them that, you know, let us know because we, you know, the county is gonna do that, our labor for free. They buy all the oil and they buy the chips. And you see, the township's on the hook for 1.5 miles, and then the golf course is on that, is in with the city, it's kind of a cluster
Cities for the other, yeah.
city, but anyway, the township has reached out to me and said that they intend to chip seal that
That's a
again.
positive thing.
Yeah, because, you know, it's been 5-6 years and now it's up and they really, you know, and it's not a good year for them to buy oil, I'm afraid,
Are
but
they thinking of doing it this?
this
summer?
year, we're gonna do it for them this fall.
Okay.
And when I get the actual cost of the oil, when I call Flint Hills here in a couple weeks, I'll give them a better estimate. But just to let you know, I told them what we paid last year, and I said I expect a 50-cent a gallon increase. So that, and you know, the chips are the same price. They gotta buy the oil with chips, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they're sticking with that, so.
There must be something flying around, dropping intelligence or something.
Well, the good thing is we're gonna have all our equipment right there,
Yeah.
because we're gonna be doing the west end of 5.
But I mean, with that in Forward Township, something must be going on.
Yeah.
High water table.
But until I actually see it, I'm not gonna get
Yeah,
my
I
hopes
know,
that high.
me either.
Too excited.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we won't hold you up anymore.
Thank you for sneaking me in, guys.
FYI, there's 2 things in your packet. One is the bridge contract for North Town, and the other one is the safety proposals from Board for Old 52, which if it's gonna be done at all, is to be done in conjunction with next year's work, if we get to that project.
For the red ball.
That's been coming
Okay,
by.
yeah. You wanna know, like, that's just the whole
We
road
can review
agreement
that
that we would
when
do.
Gold comes back monthly.
And currently, we do not have a haul road agreement, because we're not using any county, it would be a township that you would need the haul road
Janet, you
agreement
need
on.
something from that?
Okay.
It's just soils committee if you guys want to. Pardon? Soils committee, are you getting ready for that?
Well, if you're in a hurry, I mean, we can,
No, I'm sure
She's
eight
gonna stay
45 is
for
going.
that
Oh, okay.
9:45 deal, but
okay.
we can get to that here.
Well, let's get the balance sheet done quick and stuff. Some of the stuff.
Okay.
You wanna go over that, Tom?
There really isn't a whole lot, obviously, the three areas that continue to be negative numbers, and we just approved bills, it's gonna make that 911 not double, but close to it, in terms of that debt. There's no way that we can recoup that, because the legislature sets the tax fee on phone bills and so on, so it is what it is. Everything else, looks good, it looks healthy for this particular time of the year, but obviously it's still early, it's only the 5th of May, so. Beyond that, we'll look, I guess, over to the next couple of pages, and then we'll come back and approve it as a whole here. You've got your CDs and money market accounts, and we did just transfer a few more dollars into the money market account yesterday, so I think we moved $750,000. I had hoped to move it last week, but better late than never. We got it moved, and I don't anticipate, maybe in July 1st, we could have a full ship back when we have to pay the schools, townships, cities, etc. But they'll still be, give or take, about $1 million in our general fund checkbook balance to deal with things like payroll and our bills and so on and so forth. So from a financial standpoint, we're healthy at this particular moment in time. We did receive our PRC dollars.
We did?
Yes. So those did come, probably 2 weeks ago or so, about $1 million. So, which is roughly, it isn't new money, it just replaces what taxpayers paid before. And I got asked an interesting question. This is, I don't have the actual numbers in front of me, but what is the value in terms of a property valuation covered by the PRC? And it varies, obviously, tax rates vary significantly, but I think Fezman probably is the highest rate in Holmes County. City of Harvey is fairly high. A part of Catholic, it's in the Carrington School District, really small area, but that's pretty high in terms of the tax rate. So the amount of property that you could have and pay nothing ranges from about $105,000 in the highest tax areas to about $180,000 in the lowest tax areas. And one of the things that you want to bring up is valuation at Hertzfield and Bowden. And that's going to be one of those things. I mean, how many properties are there in Hertzfield and Bowden, primary residence that we're talking about, not other things we can talk about, ag property. How many of them are assessed at or above $150,000, $180,000? Well, people aren't paying taxes anyway. Okay, so why get your,
Well, that's why I want to bring it up to
bent
you.
out of shape about the rate of that is being assessed, and
They're really subsidizing the state in an indirect way.
Right, we're losing money.
We're losing money, but it's helping the state out because the
Yeah,
state has to
exactly.
pay less.
so, and maybe if I have time, I think I wrote some notes here, maybe I can find them when that discussion comes up, but yeah, on the low end, you're still into six figures.
Oh, yeah, it's
And on the high end, you're approaching 200 grand that is tax-free.
Wow.
In the lowest tax areas.
All of them are, there ain't many over that.
So we have some political subs, where the mill rate is, 340-ish, 343. We got some that are in the 220s. So, all is not fair across the landscape in Wells County, not even close. So I thought that was interesting, but yeah, I'll try and pull that up at some point in time here, and it will be a part of the conversation. And then flipping over to the next page, funds controlled by you, they see everything from what's left in House Bill 1066 before the last bill that was paid. It's still 400,000 plus. General fund, a little over 6. Road fund negative 463, and all told, just about $7 million. But the vast majority of that obviously is squirreled away in various interest-bearing accounts. And the last thing I want to talk about is this, because we're going to run out of time. So I brought you an update on Prairie Dog, where it's at right now. And obviously, you see the 2 funds with asterisks next to them. That's where we've got to get Prairie Dog money. And of course, we've got more than a year, obviously, to do that. It'll get there, but here's the interesting part. And I've been talking about this with our long-term planning and with our budgeting and so on, telling you that things aren't going to be rosy. You know how far behind we are 2 years ago's pace in this? $710 million behind. Almost $750 million behind the pace we were at 2 years ago. Ouch. Okay, we'll still get there because we got moved up, and obviously you can take a look at this for where we're at right now. We'll certainly get to those too, but those buckets are way smaller than they were 2 years ago. Remember
It's
that?
on pace to increase at a much more rapid rate now that crude oil is, North Dakota crude oil is $94 a barrel.
Right, but isn't part of it that a lot more stuff came out of those than before?
Yeah, they're moved up, but they're smaller. But yeah, it's over $700 million behind the pace of 2 years ago. So, yeah, that is a serious concern, and it's maybe even more of a concern for the next biennium if all things remain the same. Things don't typically ever remain the same, but they could also get worse. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents on that, but right now
It's
we're
outside money.
okay. So,
All right, shall we approve that whole works?
balance sheet.
Balance sheet?
So moved.
That,
Second.
motion made by Stan, second by Brian Wild, any discussion, any other discussion on it? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Then you need to also approve Laura and I to move money.
I'll make a motion to Laura and Dan to make money.
Okay, motion made by Bruce, or second?
Second.
Second, Brian Wild, discussion.
Ryan Miller.
Brian Miller was
Ryan
second.
Miller.
Oh,
Second.
That was a slam, wasn't it?
Get it right.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Sorry.
Okay, we're going to call this gal here from Wapaton, Miss Haley Eager.
You want to tell us anything,
Yeah, okay, well, you got that, have that handout. It's a PowerPoint presentation. You'll know it when you see it. There it is, North Dakota Department of Agriculture. I am sure that
Proclamation on it.
Doug Goring and company, Dennis has got it left hand.
This one? Oh, this thick one.
Doug Goring and company are trying to push this, obviously, and want Wells County to be a recipient. That's what Jana's here for. Jana, you're gonna wanna get close.
I might have received so many comments.
This is all the better I can do, so. Hi Haley, how are you this morning? I'm doing all right. I've got 5 commissioners with me. They include Stan Buxa, Dennis Doctor, Brian Lout, Danny Maxwell, and Brian Miller. I also have our tax director, John Mogren, is in the company here. And we're gonna turn it over to you, and then hopefully you can explain this. They've all got your slideshow in front of them. And then hopefully we'll have some time for some Q&A, okay?
Yep, sounds good. Well, thank you for having me, and good morning, commissioners and staff.
Morning.
So, my name is Amy Beer. I work for the Department of Agriculture, and currently we have a grant program that is out called the Regional Livestock Development and Planning Grant Program. So what this program is basically to assist counties and townships and regional planning councils regional council. One is already completed. And then we have 40 currently out of 53 counties in North Dakota that are signed up. 7 out of the 8 regional councils are currently working on just your regional council, so that south central area and the very northwest corner of the state, those 3 up there. So working with you guys the next couple of months to see if this is something you see fit for your area. And so so what this grant will do is basically create a map of good, better, best locations, utilizing your local zoning and land use regulations, the state permitting requirements, and then the availability to infrastructure and natural resources that are necessary for development of the project. So water, electricity, and roads. Those are the 3 that we are looking at. It's $12,000 for every county, and then $500 for every township. The townships are just included with the county, and then the grant itself will in full cover the whole project. So there is no cost for the county or townships. All counties have been have gone with First District Association of Local Governments to do this project. They are a regional council out of South Dakota. They implemented this same program for this zoning tool in South Dakota about 10 years ago, and it has been doing them really well. I have also attached on page 7, if you see a resolution, if you do decide to go forward, we have a resolution ready for you if you want to fill in blanks. If you want to come up with your own, that is more than welcome as well, but that is provided if you have it. So if you go to the page that says Covington County, South Dakota, it's page 8, we'll kind of go through what this grant kind of gets you. So Covington County is located in that northeast corner of South Dakota. So Watertown would be their big town, in Covington. This is kind of an example of what this kind of looks like. So they'll give you a summary of findings, a site assessment of criteria, so land use regulation, environmental, and infrastructure. They'll give you their research and methodology, their contact information, and then the site maps for that site development. There are 2 different site maps. You'll see, if you've noticed, there are some that show exactly pinpoints where those sites are, and then there's another one that just kind of outlines those townships and shows you there's a number of good, better, best sites in this township. No definitive pinpoint on those locations. So that is the difference between the public and private sites. So that one that's just showing the townships with the good, better, and best listed for a number, that is going to be the public. That's what's available to the public at any point in time. And then the private is what you guys will hold at the county for yourselves for that private information. So we're not just handing out landowner information. And so with that, it also is going to in their summary of findings, it's going to give you kind of a list of maybe where some of your rules or regulations as a county are kind of outdated, where they might not match up with state, where you're not lining up with the state rules and regulations. So it's a really good tool in that, maybe your county hasn't updated your animal feeding operation laws, in a long time. This will also help you kind of look and see where you're sitting in comparison to what the state laws are. So in their site characteristics, they looked at, in Covington County, they looked at county zoning setbacks, location of rural residences and communities, existing zoning districts, shallow aquifer, so that'd be one of those natural resources. They look at access to county and state road networks, and then your proximity to 3-phase electrical supply, and proximity to water supply, and that capacity of water supply. And then the only difference there for ag related or commercial or industrial would be that proximity to the municipality. So there are some parcels that are removed from consideration. In this report, you're meeting all of your requirements, road, water, and electric, whereas like your good site might need like a half mile of road built up to that site. So, so then if you get to page 14, this is going to show you those egg development sites, specifically where those are at in their calculations. Page 15 would be then the animal agriculture, or your CAFOs, all of those sites. And then page 17 is going to show you, 17 and 18 are going to show you those, what that public analysis is going to look like. And so again, this is just a tool in the toolbox to help you maybe update your rules and regulations, and it is a planning tool for when and if somebody does come in. Let's say they did pick one of those sites that were already there. You know, on a justification side for your scope and nature as county commissioners, that this does meet, you know, some of those big needs of water, power, and electric, and that this site does meet those regulations. It does not just get rid of, you know, like, let's say somebody did pick that site. It's not getting rid of, they still have to come in and get those additional use permits. They still have to come in and do all of the things they already have to do. It's just a tool in the toolbox to help you as a county. And so some of those big things we're looking at is to help, especially this grant is looking at helping those next generation family farms that are coming in. A lot of times we're seeing that the only way that a son or daughter can come back is in an expansion. Well, there's only so much land to buy, and a lot of times the way that they can come in back to the operation is diversifying into animal agriculture. And so this is just kind of a tool in the toolbox to help you all out in that process. Do I have any questions?
Yes, I have one to get started here. So you made a comment that somebody, if the county is on board with this, somebody or bodies is going to conduct this evaluation. Who are those somebodies?
If those somebodies are the first district, if you go to page 5 of your document, it's First District Association of Local Governments is who has been doing all of ours. They are a regional council based out of South Dakota. Like I said earlier, they did this same program. They initiated the same program in South Dakota about 10 years ago. And they were the ones that helped facilitate that program there.
Okay, and then based on their findings, they're going to evaluate, you said, roads, water availability, and electrical capacity. And through them, they would essentially determine within Wells County where the good, better, and best options would be to place something, anything that would fit under the auspices of ag and livestock development, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So what would that cost be? These people don't do this grant for nothing, do they?
No, so that's $12,000 for each county, and then $500 for each township does cover this in full.
Oh.
And then there should be some monies left over. And First District has been working with a lot of counties to help them either update some of their rules and regulations, wording or things of that nature, or if there's something in their application they would like to include on a different end. So there are usually there's a little bit of monies on the tail end of that to help with some of that support at the end of the final report.
Okay.
So basically, the grant covers all the preliminary work that's involved with it, correct?
Correct, yep. There should be no cost to the county or township for this program.
And then what kind of time frame are we dealing with? Do you need a response from us soon? And then if we agree to this, when will this work actually be done?
So they are just finishing up some regional councils here. I should have, I
Okay.
Okay,
Is this something that we added to the zoning, like whatever the complex and tiny zoning would be added to the livestock zoning portion?
Do you add this information to our actual zoning document, or?
Your rules, no, we do not change any of your rules, that would have to be conducted by you. But at the very beginning of the, document that you receive, back, it's going to show you where those, irregularities are, so like where you're not, if you're not meeting up with state standard, it's gonna show you where those spots are, within your rules, and then at the end, the first district has worked with a few counties to help update their rules and regulations, to meet the state statute.
Oh, so this group is gonna go over our zoning
They
document.
do look at, yep, so all of the results that come from this document will come from what your current zoning rules are.
then you'd have to wait for that,
Correct.
And so, counties can go above and beyond these rules, or this is the limit?
So your county can choose however they see fit. They cannot go above or beyond the state rules, which is I think a mile setback.
Because the reason I say that is because I'm sure there's gonna be areas that will wanna do that, that's why I asked the question.
Yep, and that kind of, it'll take a look, whether you want to loosen your rules or make them as strict as the state statute, that's what this is for.
Okay.
well, that's the one.
Yep,
Right,
either
yeah,
way.
I'm just
It
thinking of
works
how
both ways.
there's something else I think you want to relate to high-low districts. I just took a class on this, so.
Do you have any more questions?
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a good
We'll consider it.
presentation. We will discuss this and be back to you.
Perfect, thank you so much, I appreciate your time, you all have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks, Haley.
Thank you.
So, this whole study's paid for. It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
That's never as simple as you say. They'll come back,
Yeah,
not
well-
like our zoning.
Hey, it's not wind or solar.
Thing is, it's already happened in the state. Look at the dairy farms in the eastern part of the state. You gotta have something like this in place.
Right, I think the biggest